Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk, a discussion about all things automotive. I'm Cory.
And I'm Matt. And each week this podcast will serve as a catalyst for discussion on all sorts of topics that grind our gears, rev our engines, or just need a bit more conversation.
And on this week's episode, we are talking all things technology in our rigs. And I don't think it'll come much of a surprise to any of our listeners, but I think we're kind of split here at Garage Talk on this matter.
Yeah, 50-50 or maybe even 100 and 100, like opposite ends of the spectrum here.
Give me all the tech.
Take it all away.
But that's what we have to look forward to in this week's episode. But before we get into that, we've got a little bit of follow-up from last week. So, as most of y'all regular listeners know, we have been talking all things Ford Bronco.
And Bronco, and Bronco, and Bronco, and Mustang, and Bronco, and F-150, and Bronco,
Yes.
and Bronco.
So if you look at our Instagram page, it probably looks like we're paid by Ford. We are not. We're not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by Ford. There's just been a lot of Ford news going on lately.
There's been a lot of Ford.
Most namely, the Ford Bronco released last week. And as all of y'all that are plugged in know, we've done a lot around the Bronco specifically, including we did a reacts video on YouTube where Matt and I, along with a good friend of both of ours, sat down and watched the reveal and recorded our reactions to all things Ford Bronco as we found out about them, and then kind of tore it apart afterwards and gave our thoughts and opinions real raw right as we figured them out. And we still had some questions at that moment.
Yeah.
One big question that we all had as we were watching that is, who on earth narrated that awesome like feature film level
fantastic
film that
yeah.
I've got no other words.
11 minutes worth of this beautifully smooth, sultry voice and talking about the Bronco.
So, yeah, thanks to our wonderful YouTube subscribers, we have found out that was, in fact, Bryan Cranston. So, Breaking Bad, I first learned of him from Malcolm in the Middle. And anytime I see Bryan Cranston, my mind goes back to one of the first scenes in the first episode of the first season of Malcolm in the Middle, where he is standing in the kitchen in his tighty-whities while his wife shaves all his back hair, his arm hair.
Oh my goodness.
As he's reading the newspaper and his three boys are just disgusted trying to eat their cereal. So
there's a mental image for you.
To find out how drastically Bryan Cranston has changed his image from how he broke onto the scene, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
He's become quite the dramatic actor. Never would have guessed it from that.
No.
But so we thank you for all your feedback. We truly read all comments, posts, and take them to heart. So we are glad to have you listening, watching, and subscribing to all our content. To that end, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at GT Garage Talk. We have a YouTube channel. You can find that by searching YouTube. I don't know. They haven't given us a shortcut yet.
No?
I guess you have to be so popular before you can be YouTube /
It's not too far down on the page where our emblem comes up. Same white and black and red gear on there. So
yeah, but you can go to our website, gtgaragetalk.com, and you can find links to everything from there. You don't have to remember anything, although we made it quite simple for you. Or at least I like to think I did.
Oh, definitely.
So everything's GT Garage Talk. So all that aside, we have a little bit more car news that broke just today. So we are recording this very late on Wednesday evening, July 22nd, 2020. And we are in lovely Texas.
We are.
And we are going to be welcoming a new resident to the state of Texas. I'm sure most people with their ear to the ground already know this, but we as a state are welcoming Tesla and their Gigafactory to Austin, Texas.
What is a gigafactory?
I think it's how much money he plans on spending on it.
I gotcha.
So it is planned to be a $1.1 billion factory just outside of Austin, Texas.
Keep it weird.
Keep it weird. It will employ over 5,000 Texans,
That's fantastic.
and they will produce, most notably, which makes so much sense because Texas, the Cybertruck.
Oh, good.
While it is a truck in that it has a quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes right now, bed, they call it a vault.
Oh,
And it is called the Cybertruck,
right.
truck being in the name.
Yeah.
It's not your traditional
Not
truck.
exactly a truck.
I think it'll steal some conventional truck buyers away. It's definitely got my attention because of what we're going to talk about later on in this
Right.
episode.
Yeah.
And technology, all of the things.
Uh-huh.
But it's very fitting to be in Austin, for one, and to build a truck in Texas, even if it is Elon's version of a truck.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an appropriate way of putting it. Definitely Elon's version of what a pickup truck should be.
Yeah,
so.
he definitely went off the rails when he designed that thing.
I'll throw this one out there. This will start a little conversation, controversy, I'm sure. It's still better looking than the Ridgeline.
Poor Ridgeline. Yes, I would agree. I don't think I'm going to be making a Ridgeline Respect shirt anytime soon, much
Probably
like
not.
the minivan
No.
Respect shirt in our shop. But
Yeah. Yep.
no, it's funky, to say the least. Very
It is
angular.
that. I have to wonder how much of that is going to carry over. I mean, like the Model Y, the Model S, those have all been, the pre-production to production models have all been pretty close
Right.
to. So are we going to end up with this goofy aluminum angular
I think we are.
trapezoid of a pickup?
I really think we are. The only thing it's missing is rear view mirrors, which I know Elon's pushing really hard to eliminate that from a safety standpoint. He's
Right.
got cameras, but other than that, yeah, I think we've seen pretty much what the production version's going to look like.
That's crazy.
Now, that is not the only thing they're going to build there. They are going to have some overflow production for the Model Y as they see production ramp up for what is anticipated to be their best-selling vehicle of all time in the Model Y compact SUV. And
Yeah. Have you looked into the Model Ys?
I've priced them, yes.
Have you? It knocked my socks off
Yeah.
when I saw the entry price of a Model Y.
Yep.
Because I'm used to like the Model S P100D,
Yep. Yeah.
full blown
The Model X.
0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds
Yep.
kind of craziness. For Tesla, and they're at 100 and a quarter, 100 and a half.
Yep.
And for this to come in at $53,000 is incredible.
And what's crazy about those, and we promise we'll get to technology on all fronts here in a little bit, but the crazy thing about Teslas and electric vehicles in particular is maintenance and upkeep on them is next to nothing because you
Yeah.
don't have to buy fuel, you don't have to lubricate many parts.
Right.
Pretty much the only moving parts are the wheels
Right.
and the steering system, suspension, but like you've got.
Well, but even on a conventional vehicle, I mean, bushings and shocks and stuff like that will go 60, 80, 100,000 miles before you got to think about them.
And I don't think Tesla actually recommends you bringing them in for a checkup until you hit 100K. So
That's fantastic.
you take all the maintenance, all the oil changes, all that out of it, plus all the fuel, and that $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 sticker starts to look a little more realistic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying by any means sell what you've got right now and go out and buy one, because the cheapest rig is always the one that you currently have.
Right.
Make it last.
Right.
But it's definitely tempting.
Oh, definitely is that. I mean, I still can't afford $53,000 for a vehicle.
Right.
But I'm hoping that within the next 3 to 5 to
Yeah.
10 years
Yeah.
that that won't be so far out of reach.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging to me. And I wonder too what the aftermarket's going to look like, or not aftermarket, but used vehicle sales for those. I wonder what that's going to look like here in 3 or 4 or 5 years too.
So I have been keeping my eyes on the used market, and they're holding their values about as well as a Jeep Wrangler. I mean, there's not a lot of depreciation on them. And when you think about it, batteries have a lifespan on them. That's
Right.
one thing to consider. But wear and tear and stuff like that isn't quite the same on electric vehicles as it is with a conventional internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
And I've been impressed with what I've seen so far, and we'll kind of segue into this week's episode on this. They've largely run uncontested up until now,
Yeah.
but the big players are coming and coming hard.
Oh man.
General Motors announced in a very odd way this week through this like 100+ page sustainability report. I opened it, I flipped through it because I knew some nuggets of goodness were in there, and I fell asleep scrolling. But they have announced, I believe it is 20 vehicles.
20?
20 vehicles, all electric vehicles, are coming in the very near future. So we already know about the Hummer EV, which is
Right.
going to come in an SUV and a truck platform.
Okay.
We know about the Cadillac Celestiq and the Lyriq. And they're also going to get an Escalade level SUV. That's all electric. I'm sure it'll share a lot of parts with the Hummer. But GM is betting all things big on all things electric. So
That's
yes,
crazy.
they are completely missing out right now on this whole Wrangler Bronco war. There's rumor that the Camaro is not going to live past its current generation, which this isn't the first time I've heard rumors of the Camaro's death. Unfortunately, last time it did come true. But their focus right now is on all things electric and the electric future, whether good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's where they are betting, and they're betting big. And every auto label that they have, so Buick, Cadillac, Chevy, GMC, they are all going to get at least one electric vehicle out of this group of 20 that they are touting.
That's crazy.
So, like I said, they are betting big on all things electric. Ford, we know, has got some big electric plans. We've commented this week on
Oh yeah.
some crazy, outrageous stuff they've done with electric.
Oh
The
my.
Mach-E with seven electric motors. I don't even know how they make it all work because there are 4 tires.
Well, at one point in that vehicle or in that video, I did hear a shift, and the whine that you hear has got to be from a sequential gearbox.
Yeah, that thing was ridiculous.
So, yeah, 7 motors is a little
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, all with different gearing.
I'm very anxious to see more about that vehicle.
So Ford's dabbling. We don't know that they're all in like General Motors is, but they're dabbling in electric.
Well, they partnered with Rivian,
Right.
I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and to be honest, I expected something
Huge.
a couple of years ago
Yeah.
already from that partnership because Rivian already had a solid platform,
Yep.
and Rivian now is touting a pickup and an SUV on shared platforms coming out probably within the next 12 months or so. So
And that was another thing, that one of Chevy's vehicles is a full-size all-electric pickup truck.
really,
So that is coming. They've teased no real details, just that 20 are coming and every brand will get something. So very much looking forward to that. Volkswagen, VW Auto Group, they are probably going to be the ones Tesla should be most worried about because one of the world's largest auto manufacturers, one, and two, German engineering.
oh yeah,
So one thing Tesla always had head and shoulders above everyone else is they were cool, they were electric, they were different, and they kind of played in space all by themselves.
right,
One big mark that you watch any YouTube review of any Tesla vehicle, and they're going to at least mention, if not harp on, the build quality
Yeah.
of Teslas
oh yeah,
and how panels don't line up or there'll be massive gaps between this and that. And so here you've got a tech company coming into the car game and completely shaking it up, which was Elon's plan from the very beginning, was
Sure.
shake up the auto industry. And he has done that.
Definitely.
Check. Mission accomplished. And now he has become like the most valuable automaker in the world, which is crazy.
It is.
And now you've got automakers coming for him and shifting gears to electric vehicles. And all the gripes that people have about Teslas, they're not going to have about a VW.
Oh, no. No, fit and finish with a Volkswagen is, yeah.
And so it's really starting more so overseas than it is over here. It'll trickle over here in no time flat because the American market cannot be ignored.
Right.
But the ID3 is like VW's first and expected to be biggest all-electric vehicle. And it's very similar to the Golf. It's got Golf-like dimensions, proportions, styling, and it's, like I said, it's all electric. It's on their new all-electric platform, so think of a skateboard with all the batteries on the bottom.
Yeah.
And all that good stuff. And like I said, that is the first of many entries that they're bringing to the market. And when VW starts cranking these things out, Tesla better watch out. Another thing Tesla has on all the other automakers is their supercharger network.
Yeah.
And so I've been reading very heavily on that as well, and how other automakers are going to combat that. And VW's plan, last I read, was that they were partnering with Walmart. It's just genius on both of their parts. And they were going to put chargers in Walmart parking lots across the nation. So you think how many Walmarts are across the nation?
Yeah, there's 4 in Tyler?
Yeah. And think of putting an electric charging station in there. That solves one of mine and Holly's problems is, some of the places we want to go, I've looked on Tesla's website.
Yeah.
There are no superchargers in between here and there. And like we'd get there and have to plug it into the wall and do trickle charging, which means we ain't going anywhere.
12 hours, yeah.
Yeah, we ain't going anywhere for a while. But there are Walmarts in said places that we're talking about going. So
cool.
It completely changes the game when it comes to all things electric. And Tesla is not going to run uncontested for much longer.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I mean, I could see that being, just to expand on that a little bit, I could see that being like you go to buy groceries. So you pull up, you plug your car in, you go in and buy groceries. You're in the store for 45 minutes to an hour.
Yep.
You come out, your car is completely charged.
Yep. And with the advances that they've got in charging technology, I believe Tesla's new version 3, I think it is. Forgive me, I'm not well versed on all things Tesla, but I do believe their version 3 charger is vastly superior to its predecessor, and you could go from nearly empty to a fairly decent charge in 30 to 45 minutes.
This is like 80% or something like that.
70 to 80%. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So, another thing, and this perfect segue into what we said we were going to talk about from the very beginning. Another advantage Tesla has is technology. All things technology.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, they are a technology company that jumped into the auto manufacturing ring. And not only did they shake things up with just being all electric, but Tesla Autopilot is a very coveted feature that is now standard on all Teslas. You actually had to pay, as of this recording, $8,000 if you want the full self-driving capabilities when that comes available. So you're buying the right for that software to be installed when it's made available. So Tesla, first and foremost, like I said, has brought the technology, and all the other automakers have followed suit. And so I did a little bit of searching around on the interwebs today in preparation because I knew what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
And started thinking of different technologies that are in cars now that even 10, 15 years ago weren't there, or 20, 30, or, back in the heyday of vehicles, especially performance vehicles, the 60s, you wouldn't even dream of this kind of technology in vehicles. But first, let me just ask, before we go any deeper into this. Matt, what is your opinion of technology in vehicles, both as a consumer and as an auto technician?
Throw it in the garbage. All of it. Any of it. Let me think about how to word this because I use technology. Right? I have a smartwatch and a smartphone and a smart TV and, I have technology around my house. I have a refrigerator that stays at 37 degrees. I like technology. Mm-hmm. It's useful. Mm-hmm. The technology that we're recording on is phenomenal, wonderful because it streamlines so much of what we do on the recording side. The problem I have with technology in automobiles is this: we become so dependent on that technology that we become ignorant of how to operate a vehicle without that technology. I had a conversation, to give you an idea of how long I have held this position. I had a conversation with a girl in my 5th grade classroom.
Oh my gosh.
about how to program a clock on a VCR.
Yeah.
Because, you want to figure it out because you hate the stupid 12 o'clock blinking thing, right? For those of you who don't know what a VCR is, go ask your parents. So, you have to figure it out. You got to read the instructions, blah, 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 blah. Well, so I was talking to her, and I forget how the conversation started, how we ended up on it, but essentially I was saying that the more technology advances, the stupider we get because the less computing power our brains have to do for us. And the same becomes true with automobiles. The more technology that we involve in an automobile, for example, backup sensors. Mm-hmm. I watched one of my dear friends hop in a late model Suburban, put it in reverse, and back into a car that was parked behind him. They were the only 2 cars in the parking lot. And he did it, the big plastic goofy back bumpers that they had on the same generation as your pickup.
So 07 to 13.
Yeah. And he backs in and buckles in the corner of the Suburban, and there's 3 or 4 of us standing out there, and we watch him do this. And we're all flabbergasted because
jaws hit the ground
what? And he obviously feels it, senses, okay, wait,
something's wrong.
Something's not right. He pulls up and gets out, and he's like, did I really just hit that? We were all like, yes, you really did hit that vehicle. And he was like, well, but the backup sensors never went off. And immediately I go to thinking, you have mirrors on both sides.
You have eyeballs.
Yeah, you have eyeballs. Yeah.
You are supposed to turn, the dad move where you put your hand on the seat next to you and you turn around.
Yeah,
and you look over your shoulder.
And I get it. It was a rental vehicle, so it wasn't a vehicle that he was comfortable with. Different kind of place, and then, there's lots of things that contributed to, but the main thing was
his reliance on
this technology that, good grief. I was driving a school bus in Oklahoma City and heard the story of this bus driver who was waiting to pull out on one of the main roads, stopped at a stoplight in the neighborhood where he could turn right. He was 2 or 3 cars back, and so the bus was covering up a driveway of a house right there in the neighborhood. Lady walked out her front door, down off of her porch, down her sidewalk, got in her car, put it in reverse, and backed into the side of the school bus as it sat there. And she gets out and says, Well, I didn't see it.
It's a school bus.
Like, we become
The phrase, it's as literally as big as a bus,
Yes.
applies.
Yes. And it just, yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
So, yes, I will concede that as a valid point, and it is all in how you use it. If you use it as a stopgap to take care of your shortcomings and failings as a well-intentioned, well-meaning, well-trained, well-practiced driver,
Right.
then it's great. So you will love this story
Oh,
about
boy.
technology that happened to my father-in-law. I hope he's okay with me sharing it because I'm going to.
See, I wasn't sharing names. I didn't want, yeah.
So, well, it's not bad. So he bought a brand new Ram truck. As I see, you're wearing a Ram truck shirt today, so very appropriate. But he bought a brand new Ram truck, Ram 1500 Laramie, with lots of bells and whistles. It's got the big 12-inch touchscreen, which we'll get into a little bit later. But it had one feature that I don't think he was quite expecting on that truck when he went to leave our house one day. And it was just so happened to be the first time he came over. So we've made jokes on all sorts of manners of the steepness of my driveway.
Oh, yeah.
It is, as I've measured it with a rental Ford Expedition, as I was climbing climbing the incline of my driveway with the off-road gauges in the center stack.
Right.
It said that it is a 15-degree incline, which is a pretty steep incline for
That's insane.
especially a driveway. And so anyway, I have a steep driveway.
Yes.
He was backing his truck down said driveway, and he gets down almost to the road, and his truck slams on the brakes. And he's looking around like, what just happened? And could not figure it out because he had not been well versed in all the technology that came on that vehicle. And so I walked down there and I told him, I was like, well, it's got safety sensors all the way around it, and it thought you were about to hit something. So now he has to remember every time he leaves our driveway, whether, I'm sure he's never pulled down forward because he would have to back up it to get up there. Anyway, anytime he leaves our driveway, he has to turn off that function so that he can actually leave. His truck will actually let him leave my driveway because otherwise the truck thinks it's about to run into a wall.
That's insane.
So that is just a little fun with technology. And we will get into my opinions right after this. So my opinions on technology.
Here we go.
I am a tech nerd. Yes, I too have a smartwatch. I have a smartphone. I have an iPad. I have two computers. One I use. One has been obsolete for a few years, but still around.
Yeah.
We've got smart speakers, smart TV, like all the main lights in my house I can control with Siri. Like, technology is ingrained in my house and in my life. Like, I could change the thermostat at my house from here right now, but I won't. And I love all things technology. I keep up with all things Apple. I'm an Apple nerd. You can hit me up in the comments on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on the show notes of this episode for that one. But yes, I love all things Apple. I love all things technology, and I love technology in vehicles. Like I said earlier, if we use it appropriately,
Yes.
if we use it as a stopgap for our shortcomings, when we are legitimately paying attention to everything around us and we just miss something or just needed a little extra help. So, case in point, automatic braking. I just made the joke about my father-in-law's backup sensor not letting him out of the driveway, but in the event that somebody is walking by and for some reason he did not see said person, absolutely essential technology you just saved. If not hospital bills, maybe even a life.
Right.
Because you didn't back over somebody. So stuff like that, absolutely awesome. I would say my stance, if I had to pin it out and say where I stand on it, is I put all the technology in my daily driver.
Okay.
Cram it all in there. Anything, I want the newest, the best,
Right.
the greatest. But you and I both are fans of vehicles from years gone by, and I would absolutely love a 1969 Camaro Z28 with no technology in it whatsoever. Like, where you can take the Jeremy Clarkson approach and fix anything with a hammer, basically.
Yeah.
Just beat it hard enough and it'll start working again. Because I kid you not, I was watching YouTube this week, and one of the commercials that came on before the video that I was watching was a Mercedes-Benz commercial. And they were talking about Mercedes-Benz service. And they did not show a wrench or any type of, like, conventional tool one in that entire commercial. Of
course
you know
not.
what they showed? Computers and cables and all things technology, because what breaks on vehicles now is all
Sensors.
all this extra junk that we've added on, which has increased the price of vehicles tremendously.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, so backup cameras are now standard on all vehicles made in model year 2014 and after. So my daily driver is a 2013, so it does not have a backup camera. If I had waited one measly year, I would have. But I'm good without it.
Yeah.
My car really does have very little frills. It does have a touchscreen, and I can plug my phone in through USB. But that's about as far as technology goes in that, by today's standards, I should say. It does have... So it's a stick, and it has a shift light. I hate that stupid shift light. You don't tell me when to shift.
That's right.
I tell you when I want to shift.
Yeah.
But
my dad's 98 TJ Wrangler
Yeah.
and his 94 S10 pickup both had shift lights too. So
it's just...
that's been around a while.
Yeah. But anyway, my daily driver is, by today's standards, a bare bones cruiser. I did not put any options on it. The only extra cost option it has is a paint job, which I did not pick. The dealer found it for me. But I will say, for a daily driver, my wife's car has every bell and whistle on it that we could possibly get. It has the lane keep, which is very weird if you're not used to it, because if you want to change lanes and you don't put the blinker on, the car fights you.
Oh, man.
Which is a weird sensation all by itself. But
my mother-in-law just got a new Nissan, I think it's a Rogue.
Yeah.
One of the smaller SUVs.
With Pro Pilot Assist.
Yes, and my father-in-law turns it off when he drives because he doesn't like it.
Yeah, well, there is a feature that is now permanently off in my wife's Jeep, and that's because, much like my father-in-law's backup debacle in our driveway, my wife was driving down Broadway here in town and was keeping safe distance from the vehicle in front of her, was turning into a parking lot. Again, keeping safe distance. She was well aware of everything. She was following the laws. She was doing everything she was supposed to. And the car decided, no, you're too close, and slammed on the brakes in the middle of one of the busiest streets in town, and could have caused a problem with vehicles behind her, because there was no reason for her to stop, but it picked up and thought, oh no, accident imminent.
You're not paying attention.
So that feature is permanently off, but everything else on that, we've got automatic headlights, automatic high beams.
I got a bone to pick with daggum automatic headlights.
Oh, yeah?
I hate with a passion. If there was one technology that I could remove from vehicles forever, always, for the rest of my life, it would be automatic headlights.
Really? Because I want the government to, and I don't say this very much at all, I want the government to mandate automatic headlights on everything.
No, because what happens is, when somebody gets in a vehicle that doesn't have automatic headlights,
they don't turn
them on. So you end up with this idiot who's driving down the road at 10 o'clock at night with no lights on because, I got automatic headlights. I don't have to worry about my headlights. Well, guess what? Not every vehicle has automatic headlights.
That's because all cars nowadays, all the gauges light up as if the lights were on. So from the inside, if you're not paying attention to the road, idiots, you can't tell that the lights aren't on, but you should be looking at the road. Safe driving, people. Please make sure your headlights are on, and especially if you drive a dark vehicle, and especially if it's dusk. That's when you can't see the sun, but there's still sunlight out, because I cannot tell you how many dark vehicles
Yes.
just completely disappear
Yep.
because they don't turn their headlights on. And
Yep.
I flash them. I do all the things I can to try and get their attention. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
Inclement weather, too.
Yeah.
Right? It can
Oh, my
be
goodness,
bright
yes.
enough outside when it's raining that the headlights, the automatic headlights, don't turn on, but you need them on. A gray vehicle in a heavy downpour on a
Yep.
bright day, you don't see it.
I honestly am thoroughly surprised that the government hasn't stepped in, because the government, when it comes to all things safety, like I said, all vehicles manufactured model year 2014 and after had to have a backup camera, but we still don't have set standards on headlights. We still don't have set standards on a bunch of different things, but headlights is one of the areas that even the IIHS safety standards, they are really cracking down on headlight technology. And the government doesn't mandate anything, but they rank and score headlight technology now. And so that is kind of an overlooked area of vehicles that most people don't think about how great their headlights are until you need them.
Right.
So,
Or you've driven the same vehicle for 5 or 6 or 7 years, and your headlights are all hazed over and yellow and nasty looking.
mine are getting there.
And then you put new assemblies in with brighter bulbs,
Yep.
and you realize what all you've been missing.
Oh my goodness, how have I driven this thing so long?
Well, my '08 F-150 has automatic headlights. But it has an option to turn it to
off.
the auto. Well, guess what? I don't use it because I don't like automatic headlights.
So what's funny is occasionally I will get in my wife's vehicle to drive it, and I'll bump the headlight switch with my knee and turn it off of the automatic, and it'll come up on a time I'm like, why aren't your headlights on? Like, I'm trying to figure out, and I start messing with it. I'm like, oh, okay, I did it. But yes, for the most part.
Right, but you're enough of a gearhead to realize when your headlights aren't on.
Yes.
There are plenty of people who
Yes.
could give two rips about the vehicle that they're in and don't
Yep.
pay a lick of attention to whether or not their lights are on at 10 o'clock at night.
Yep. But like I said, not only do we have automatic headlights in that Jeep, we have automatic high beams, which is a feature I love, because I've taken plenty of trips back from Dallas or Houston at night where I'm constantly flipping them on, flipping them off, flipping them on, flipping them off. And when you can just turn on the automatic high beam feature, and it does all the flicking high low for you. Oh, that is just a weight saved right there, because don't have to worry about it anymore. It's very convenient. No combative.
Throw it all away.
Throw it all away. Let's
No,
see.
that does sound like a nice feature.
Yeah.
But I just
And for the most part, I have not come across an instance where it has failed me, because like as I see headlights coming up over a hill towards me, I think the sensor is up high in the windshield, so it sees the headlights before I do, and just about the time I would reach to turn off the high beams, it does it for me. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I have come to trust that system quite well.
cool. Very
Another automatic thing that it has is adaptive cruise control. I love adaptive cruise control,
Throw it in the garbage.
especially for road trips, and especially going into cities when you start getting into congestion. Now, I'm not saying driving around Tyler, Texas, just commuting every day, running to get groceries or anything like that. Sometimes I use it just because technology,
'Cause
and
you
I
have
can. But yeah, really for long trips, especially when you get stuck behind somebody going slow and you've got someone riding on your shoulder, which is a giant pet peeve of mine. It's great in that it slows down for you, and then you can scoot over and get around the slope poke in front of you. So I love adaptive cruise.
I just speed up and cut them off.
Teach them not to,
Right.
ride on your shoulder or do any of that.
Yeah, no. Big rigs and even school buses. We have a couple of school buses where I work that have adaptive cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could see where in a situation like that, you're going on a trip, 6, 7, 8
Yep.
buses running together,
Oh yeah,
and the front bus sets crews, and the other ones
it
can
is
just
great
stack in
for
behind it.
convoys.
I mean, that I could see where it would be
Yeah.
helpful. Same thing with semis. A lot of those companies for semis set a speed limit of like 62 miles an hour for their trucks or whatever. So in that case, yes, adaptive cruise would be nice. But it bugs me
Yeah.
when I'm in a vehicle that has adaptive cruise. It just bugs me because
You want to do it yourself.
yeah, just leave it alone. And this is how anti-technology I am. These are on my naughty list for technologies: automatic transmissions
Well, yes.
and rev matching.
Oh yeah.
They kind of go together, but I just
Over engineering.
yes,
Yes.
just
So explain for our uninitiated.
what an
listener.
automatic transmission. Oh,
Come on now. Rev matching, Matt.
rev
matching.
rev matching. Okay, so rev matching is when, or at least the new technology that they have now for rev matching is when you are downshifting in a manual transmission vehicle, the computer will sense what gear you're going into, measure the engine RPM where it needs to be, the speed of the vehicle, all those things, and bring the engine RPM up to where the engine would be running in the gear that you just put it in.
To match the transmission speed,
yeah.
basically.
So it's rev matching, RPM matching what the transmission gear was just selected for. It's if you're good at driving stick,
You don't
you're
need
used
it.
to the vehicle, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's just
It's one of those
over-engineering
nanny technologies.
Yes,
Yeah.
and good grief. If I ever get to the point of having a Mustang, I hope there's a way to turn it off because it would drive me up the wall.
I'm sure you could, flash the ECM or something like that and completely eradicate it and your warranty along with it.
Can I
But
can I eradicate the ECM? Go back to points and
Yes.
distributor and okay.
that would be nice, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's another one. Touchscreens. So
Why?
you've sat in the new Ram 1500 with that gorgeous 12-inch display, right?
It's pretty, but I'm supposed to be paying attention to the road, not this television that I've got in the passenger seat.
It can be quite distracting, and I blame Tesla wholeheartedly for this because the Model S and the Model X specifically did the vertically mounted ones, and now the Model S and the Model Y have the horizontally mounted ones in the middle without a gauge cluster, so it is your gauge cluster.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems counterintuitive, but again, Tesla's intent is to get you completely out of driving altogether.
Yep.
You're just a person in the vehicle who can take over
Right.
when necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But
Next is robots and taking over the world.
yeah. Skynet, anyone?
Uh-huh.
Terminator? Bum,
Sorry.
Bum, bum, bum.
Humans are not necessary anymore. Goodbye.
Yeah. That's a conspiracy theory for some other episode way down the way. But yeah,
Mark my words. It all started with the automatic transmission.
terrible invention. So, I will throw out a couple other YouTubers here as I tell some anecdotal stories on some of this tech. My wife's Jeep will also park itself. It's a cool party trick. As someone who never loved but could, mark this down, it goes on the record, I can parallel park just fine. It's much more fun to parallel park with that than it is to truly parallel park. But we've owned that vehicle 3 years now, and it's relegated pretty much to a party trick, the whole self-parking feature. But a YouTube channel that I watch, Chevy Dude, out of Louisville, Kentucky, he has a few Corvettes. He has a brand new C8, but he has a C7, previous generation Corvette, that as it was parked on, he's a Chevy dealer in Louisville. As his Corvette was parked on the lot, back in basically employee parking, it was backed into by a Ford Fusion on a test drive of somebody trying to show off the self-parking feature of the Ford Fusion.
I don't even know what to say to that.
So, yes, again, that in even me, technology-loving person over here, that thought I would want that in every single vehicle, it has become a party trick for us. Hardly ever use it, but it is laughable that a production vehicle made it to market with technology bad enough that it would back into a parked car.
Yep.
And lucky for Chevy dude, it was all caught on security footage from the dealership, and he was able to take care of all that.
That's incredible.
So, wrapping up all things technology, as far as self-driving, all this stuff. Another YouTube channel, Doug DeMuro. Have you heard of him?
I have, yeah.
So
I think you've mentioned him a time or two on.
I recently found out I am slightly older than him, which made me feel even older somehow. I don't know. I was hoping. I don't know. I've gotten to the point where now I'm older than people I watch on TV. Anyway, side note, I'll go and cry in my pillow when I head home. But he recently bought him.
See, if you had a self-driving car, you could cry on the way home.
Yep, but I don't. So I'll wait till I get to my pillow. But he recently bought a new daily driver for himself. And one of the prerequisites as he was car shopping for his daily driver was that it had all the self-driving tech, the adaptive cruise control with full stop capability, lane keep, yada, 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 all the safety features. He ended up with something you and I would both probably love to have, and I've been eyeballing one that's for sale here in town, but would never buy it for a reason that you're about to find out. A Kia.
Oh, really?
He bought a Kia Stinger GT.
Nice.
So for those of us that are initiated, we know that that's a performance hatchback sedan from Kia that's got tons of power, and we would love to have it as a fun everyday driver.
Definitely.
But for most people, they see the Kia badge and they're like, it's a Kia.
Yeah.
But Doug is enough of a car guy. He's got a moderate channel out there.
Yeah.
That he knows it's an interesting car, and he knows all the quirks and features about it because that's what he does. And he found that one. I had mentioned it before. It was a year old when he bought it and had massive discounts, but that was a prereq for him shopping for a new vehicle. And he says his viewpoint, and it's one I kind of echo, for daily drivers, throw it all in there. But for the fun weekend cars, the weird one-offs, the things that you love, but you're not driving everywhere and racking all the miles on, then you can say nix on the technology and keep the fun cars the fun cars. You're over here shaking your head.
Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not sold on it.
Yeah.
I've spent too much time under the hood of my '08.
Yeah.
Which is minimalistic in its amount of technology, to even contemplate something that's more complicated and more complex and more detailed than what that is. It's just...
See, it's funny that you bring up Ford, because Ford is one of two that I can call up off the top of my head right now that have like patented and had the marketing department stamp a name and market their suite of safety technology. The other, excuse me, the other is Nissan. So I alluded to it earlier. Yeah. Nissan has ProPilot Assist.
Right.
It's now coming out in their 2.0 version. Ford has Copilot 360. And yes, it is trademarked, as I'm on Ford's website right now. Ford Copilot 360. And that is... It gets even worse.
But wait, there's more.
It includes lane keeping, pre-collision warning with intelligent braking, adaptive cruise control, and then yet another registered trademark of Ford, their Bliss with cross traffic alert. And BLISS is blind spot information system, which I don't know where I guess the B and the L from blind, and then you just forget the S and spot. I don't know who figured that one out, but yeah, blind spot information system, or BLISS. So yeah, not only do they have Copilot 360, but it includes BLISS. Doesn't that just sound so peaceful and serene?
Nope.
You can forget the fact that there's somebody over there because BLISS will let you know.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. See, you're already dependent on a technology that you don't even have yet.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about any of these cars around me because BLISS will tell me if there's somebody around me.
Rumor has it the Ford Bronco will come with BLISS.
I got issues with the Bronco already.
We're only a week out.
Already.
Let me hear them.
Number one, and I don't know if this has been confirmed or not.
Probably has. I'll let you know.
If you order any of the Broncos with the Sasquatch package, you do not get to choose a manual transmission.
Correct. Confirmed.
I want to say dirty words on this podcast.
Please don't. We're family friendly.
I won't. I will restrain myself. Why? I signed a petition on Facebook combating this, saying that I want the manual transmission in the Sasquatch package. The Sasquatch is what makes the Bronco. It's the 35s, it's the beadlocks, it's the fender flares, it's the rock bashers, all that stuff.
Which is incredibly head-scratching when you think that manual transmission with the crawl gear has an insane, 94 3/4 to 1 crawl ratio. It's absolutely insane.
Right.
The closest Jeep gets is, I believe it's 84 to 1. So completely insane crawl gear that you can select yourself.
Right.
But not if you've got the Sasquatch.
Not if you have Sasquatch. It's ridiculous. And then the other is that with the manual transmission, you can't have the crawl, the technology part of it, which I guess I'm kind of split on this, but the crawl assist or whatever it is, my great uncle's war era Jeep had crawl assist.
His war era what?
Jeep.
Please lean into the microphone to say that. As I am wearing my Team Jeep T-shirt right now.
You know what it was? It was the choke cable. You just pulled it out a little bit and idle up, and you put it in gear and let the clutch out, and it would do its thing.
Yep.
Like, what if we can do that 70 years ago, why can't we do that in 2020?
Over-engineering, my friend. Over-engineering.
Well, I'm upset.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up. What do you say?
We better end. I'm going to say something I'm going to regret later.
So we truly appreciate you stopping and listening to us ramble on about the pros and cons of automotive technology. So that leads us into our question of the week this week is, what do you think of technology in vehicles? Do you want all this safety technology? Do you want the touchscreens? Do you want all that? Or do you want to, as Matt says, throw it all away? Let us know on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at GT Garage Talk. Or you can go to our website, gtgaragetalk.com, and let us hear back from you on all things technology. But until next time, bye.